I'm Chris Tuck, a financial advisor, CFP, with a passion for educating my clients about investing. My father-in-law, Scott Kleiman, founded the practice, and together with my wife, Lindsay, and amazing staff, we are making a place to feel more at home with investing. This is Advisors in Cars Getting Coffee. Today, our guest is Maureen Anderson, an elder law attorney based out of Doylestown. She covers a wide range of legal matters, which we will dive into our conversation, that are specifically around long-term care planning. We're driving a very short way up the road to Sweetah's gluten-free bake shop for a little bit of coffee and some pastries. Today we'll be driving an Lexus ES 350. It's a 2020 model, white exterior with bright red leather interior.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing? We're good. We're good. Wow, look at this
All right.
bright red interior.
Very nice
You like
car.
that? Yes.
It's beautiful.
Red leather.
Red leather.
This
What kind
is-
of car is this?
This is a Lexus ES 350 2020, brand new. Our friend Fran let us borrow the car for the day.
Fran, our insurance guy?
Yes.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. So nice
Very
feature on the
comfortable,
inside.
yeah.
White on the outside, but a little sneaky with the red leather on the inside.
Pizzazz here, yes.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
So today I thought we'd go to Sweetah's, which is walkable. So it's interesting that we're driving there, but we'll take the long way. And it's a gluten-free bakery. Just opened up around the corner, and I thought we could talk about elder law and long-term care planning.
Absolutely.
Great.
That sounds good. Let's feel how this rides. It's beautiful.
All right.
So that's it, huh?
We're
not gonna
here.
go around the block. You don't need to. I think you beat Lindsay here. That's good though. It's perfect. Wow, even close to going in.
Front row.
Front row. That's great. That has a really nice ride.
It waits
You
at the
might
light green.
You might want to keep it.
All right, Maureen, thanks for joining us today. So I thought maybe we could just start with, give us a little bit of your background.
Sure. I am a certified elder law attorney. I have an office here in Doylestown, and I grew up in the Philadelphia area. I knew I always wanted to be an attorney, and as I started looking into it, knew that I wanted to practice elder law. And I went to St. Joe's here in Philadelphia, and I went to Washington, law school in Washington, and always geared everything towards my practice in elder law.
Maureen, what type of clients do you serve?
I basically serve seniors and their families. Being an elder law practitioner, everything that I deal with usually has some capacity to do with seniors. Many times the seniors aren't able to deal directly with me because of an illness, or they might be incapacitated or in a nursing home. So many times I'll deal with the family members, the children, the grandchildren, and or other loved ones who are able to assist them. So whatever it might be, but it's usually an extended family that I work with, multi-generations.
And just so our viewers are aware, what areas, what counties do you serve?
I'm licensed in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, but my practice is predominantly in Bucks County, Montgomery County, and Philadelphia County.
Okay.
So I do other counties as well, but that's the majority of my practice, and I'm happy to meet with people in other areas, but that's normally where I work.
So Maureen, what areas of legal work do you specialize in?
As an elder law attorney, there's a few areas that I cover. The first area is estate planning, and that's preparing wills,
Thank you.
powers of attorney, living wills, healthcare. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Healthcare powers of attorney, and any other documents that people need for planning. I also do estate administration, which most people know is probate after someone passes away. I do guardianships. Many times I have seniors who are incapacitated, who may have dementia, Alzheimer's, and they no longer can prepare powers of attorney for themselves, so sometimes a family member will have to step up and become their guardian. And then the last portion of my practice is what's very unique to elder law, and that is the long-term care planning. Many of my clients eventually may need long-term care housing, whether that be assisted living, personal care, skilled nursing. So we do planning for that, both for legal documents and for financial planning. We look into the cost of things, and we do planning. We do Medicaid planning to get them on Medicaid, and we're able to preserve assets, which is a huge plan of things that we can do to help clients.
I'll tell you, after hearing the description of what you specialize in, I'm just struck by the detail, what people will learn from this. Just knowing this specialization is unbelievable. It's a really good educational information.
I agree, and I deal with clients every day, and the most common thing I hear is, I had no idea what was involved here, or I had no idea the things we could do, and it's a learning experience. And so that's really what I try to do, is to educate people and just let them know what options are and things to think about for the future, because in most cases, until you're thrown into that scenario, until mom or dad is in a nursing home, no one ever really wants to think about that. But
So why don't we break down those kind of areas that you just mentioned? The first was administering wills, putting wills together, power of attorney. How is that different from your discipline than maybe a traditional estate attorney?
good question. I have a little bit of different perspective, because my goal for my clients is to always look out for their long-term needs. And if I have a younger client that comes in, it's fairly general, and we would do planning. But for someone that eventually may need long-term care, whether again it be assisted living, skilled nursing, I want to make sure that all of their issues are covered. So first of all would be the power of attorney. The power of attorney document, I make sure that there's items in there that will allow us to do the Medicaid planning in the future, will allow us to liquidate their assets if we need, various things that are very, very specific to what we need in the future. And then for the wills, again, what a person might need for the future, again, in order to protect as much assets as possible for their family. A good example would be, in many cases, if I was doing a will for a younger couple, husband leaves everything to wife, wife leaves everything to husband, and that's very common, and most people do that. But in a situation where we might have, for example, dad in the nursing home, we don't want to have mom's will say that she leaves everything to her husband, because if mom were to pass away first, everything in her estate would go to the husband who's in the nursing home, and all the money would be lost to the nursing home.
Good point.
So again, I will prepare a will that will take that into consideration and do as much as we can to preserve the assets to be able to pass through her will, maybe to her children or other family members.
So Maureen, one of the areas you mentioned that's very specific to what you specialize in is long-term care planning. And it's something that our practice is looking at more and more for our clients as our clients are getting older, and it's definitely a need we're seeing arise quite often. I think maybe we should talk about kind of what is long-term care. There's a lot of misconceptions about long-term care.
Absolutely.
And just a nursing home or whatever it might be.
Right.
So maybe talk about some of those misconceptions and
Sure.
Medicaid.
Sure. Just to give you an overview, there's basically 3 levels of care for seniors when it comes to living arrangements. First is what we call independent living, and that's when a senior might downsize from their house,
Right.
move to an apartment, but still have their complete independence. The second option would be what we call assisted living or personal care, and that is at a facility where you have your own living arrangements there, but you're supervised by nursing staff and assistants who can make sure you get showered, get you to the dining room, make sure you get your medicines, those kind of things. But you still have some independence there in your privacy. And then the third level is what we call skilled nursing. And that's the typical nursing home that people affiliate with. And in that case, that's really 24-hour skilled nursing. And you definitely cannot live outside of there. And you need the full help of all of the staff there 24 hours a day. So those are the basic levels of care. And along with that goes a different price tag for each one of them. Independent living in this area might be, say, $2,000 a month, and assisted living might be in the range of $5,000 to $6,000 per month, and then skilled nursing can go up to about $10,000 to $14,000 per month.
Right.
So it's quite costly. And there are also incidentals too that are added on to those figures.
Sure.
But what we want to always explore are the options of preserving assets so that you won't go broke when you go to the nursing home. That's the biggest misconception that's out there. I meet with clients every day who hear through the grapevine that, oh, I'm going to lose all my money, I'm going to go broke. and the nursing home and the state is going to take everything from me, including my house. And that's absolutely inaccurate, and that's what I sit down with clients and explain what the options are so that we can do things to preserve assets.
So Maureen, do you find that you'd like to start helping clients sooner than when they come to you? Are they typically too late at times? And also, do you find that it's apparent that your advice is perfect for some specialized legal advice?
I meet with clients basically at all stages. I have people that come in early for planning, and I have people that come in late, which is what we call the crisis planning. The earlier the planning, the better. We have more options at that point. It's less money for my services to plan well in advance. But many people do come in at the crisis level. And that usually is triggered by a medical event. Many times a parent will fall, break a hip, have a stroke, some significant medical issue in which they end up in rehab and then possibly a nursing home. And that's the most common situation in which people wake up and get their head out of the sand and say, wow, we have to do something now. So those are the families that I work with, and I try and do as much as possible for planning and to explain to them what's involved with the process and how they will be impacted by that, along with the financial aspect of it.
Hopefully a video like this and getting communication out there can wake people up.
It is. It really is. Like
Yeah.
I said, it's really worth it to look into it, to become educated, and just know what could possibly occur in the future, so that if it does happen, hopefully it doesn't, but if it does happen, you'll be much more prepared and more comfortable.
So Maureen, maybe we could talk about some specific techniques. We see a lot of clients, for whatever reason, know about the 5-year look back with Medicaid rules. For whatever reason, that's become very popular for people to know. But we are talking about other techniques that are available. That's certainly one.
A Medicaid laws say that they look back for 5 years to see if you have given away money.
Sure.
They basically want you to spend your own money before you qualify for Medicaid. So that's why they instilled the 5-year look back period. So they do go back and look to see if you've gifted away any large amounts of money. So if we have that 5-year window prior to anyone getting sick, we're in great shape. We can do all that planning, we can move assets, we can set them up whatever way that will be most helpful to the family.
Right.
But many times we don't have that 5-year look back period because, as I mentioned earlier,
Crisis planning.
we have the crisis planning where no one thinks about this and they don't show up until someone's in the nursing home. So in that case, we can do some planning, not as much as we could do 5 years out, but there's still many options, many tools that we can use to preserve assets. Everyone thinks that they're going to lose all their money if they go to a nursing home, and that is not accurate. There are many tools and techniques that we can use to preserve money for the family and at the same time get mom or dad onto Medicaid in the nursing home at a faster rate.
You've mentioned stuff in the past with like a child living at home or a disabled child.
Correct. Yes, there are some exceptions to the rules. If we have an adult child that has lived with mom or dad for more than 2 years, we can transfer the house to them and preserve the house. And again, house clearly is a large asset. If we have any adult disabled children, we can transfer assets to that adult disabled child again, and mom and dad would get on the Medicaid quicker. And also, if there are, there's a few other techniques that, depending on the situation of the family.
Obviously, everything is on a case-by-case basis.
Correct.
Because everyone has their own circumstances, which shows even more why your specialization is so personal to each situation. Right?
Correct.
And there's specific techniques and tools available to you that you would want to discuss with clients.
Absolutely.
Case by case. Right?
Absolutely. And again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a certified elder law attorney. And you really need to meet with a certified elder law attorney who does this every day and who knows all of the aspects of this. Because sometimes you might hear advice from neighbors or friends or even another attorney that really doesn't specialize in this, and it can become a bit confusing.
And I think there's a lot of confusion out there in that space. I mean, we have clients in Florida, for example, that there's people down there that call themselves elder attorneys, but they're not that at all.
Yeah.
So I think understanding that there's certification and a specific field that can help in this, and making sure that they're finding a credentialed person that this is what they do. Yeah. So Maureen, one of the tools that we discuss with our clients a lot is long-term care insurance. And we find it as it's something that really all of our clients should be considering. And we really try and push that, and there's a lot of different ways to do that. I'd be curious from your side that you've seen clients with and without long-term care insurance. I think there's some confusion of, well, if I get this, then maybe I don't qualify for Medicaid. I mean, have you seen instances where long-term care insurance has not been a good idea?
No, every scenario where I've come across it, it's always been helpful.
Yeah.
I will say that not many people have it.
Sure.
And I'm sure you agree with me
Yes,
on
we
that.
know that.
I always encourage my clients, if they're still able to get it, usually younger clients or maybe the children, to certainly look into it. From my perspective, when we're doing that planning, if they have it, I actually take the figures from the long-term care insurance payouts and I incorporate that into our planning. For example, if we're looking at the cost of a nursing home each month, that might be, say, $12,000 per month. And if they have long-term care insurance, for example, that might pay out $3,000 per month.
Right.
That goes into the formula, we add in their income, and then we would calculate what the shortage is in order to cover the monthly costs at a facility. It's really helpful for assisted living because that's a lower rate, and people who have income, a standard income, let's say a Social Security check and a pension, when you combine that with the long-term care insurance, that might cover everything in
Sure.
assisted living, and they don't have to touch their principal. And again, that would give us time to do planning for the 5-year look back if they reach the next level for Medicaid planning. I absolutely encourage it. I also tell my clients that there are the new policies, that what we call the hybrid policies, that if they're concerned about living healthy their whole life and never utilizing that plan, and they've paid into the long-term insurance policy for many years, if they don't use it, when they pass away, it actually converts to a life insurance policy that will go to their children. So it's a great tool, and I always encourage people looking into it because it's always a help.
Yeah, and the cost of long-term care policies, sometimes clients can see that, but as we talked about, the cost of the care itself
Absolutely.
could be so much more.
Correct. I mean, the annual premiums for long-term care insurance, when you add up all of that towards the end of what it would compensate you for, it's usually well worth it.
And we love those hybrid policies that have a life insurance component that clients can hedge in a way and make sure they get their money out
Right.
one way or another.
Right.
Maureen, thank you so much for coming today. I think it was
It's been a
really
pleasure.
Thank you.
really informative. I think that the integration and the comprehensive kind of planning and looking at this, working with a specialist like yourself, I think is really important, so people can understand what options might be available to them. Hopefully that means people are doing that well in advance and it's not all crisis planning.
Right.
But we do appreciate you
Right.
coming out today. And
It's been a
giving us some
pleasure. Thank you
information.
for having me, and I appreciate you wanting to educate
Great.
people in this field.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Very
thank you.
informative. Thank you, Lindsay.
You're welcome.
Well, what are you doing here?
Just happen to be here.